Now let us start with your next poem. The name of the next poem is To Marguerite by Matthew Arnold. So for something about the poet Matthew Arnold, born in 1822, died in 1888, was a prominent Victorian poet, a prose writer of great charm, and a well-known literary critic. His poetry most clearly expresses the dilemma of the Victorian mind, baffled by the advancing tide of science. So, I am reading out from your book only. So, what was the dilemma of the Victorian mind? So, dilemma of the Victorian mind was as to whom to believe, whether to believe in the theories that science was putting forth, yeah, or to believe in what religion had been teaching them for ages. Yeah, so science was making a lot of progress and it was bringing forth new theories with new evidences every day, and the people were really confused because whatever science was telling the people at that time was quite contrary to what they had been taught by, what they had been told by religion. Okay? So, this resulted in a growing feeling of pessimism, hopelessness, and despair. Yeah, so these feelings pervaded the Victorian age, clear, and they find an echo in almost all the works of literature that were written during those times. Yes, so now something about the poem again from your book. देखो ना, To Margaret is a poem about human loneliness. Now, Margaret, who was Margaret? So, many critics think that in reality there was no woman named Margaret, but some people opine that she was the lady love of the poet Matthew Arnold, and Matthew Arnold met her briefly. She belonged to Switzerland and they had a brief association there, and then there was separation. Yeah, so this is also a poem of separation. Yeah, it is a poem that is sad in tone. Yeah, so now let us read something about the poem. To Margaret is a poem about human loneliness. Yeah, so it is about human beings and their essential loneliness. All of us are essentially alone. Okay? The poet opines that all our longing for companionship ends in frustration and desperation. Okay, so because a union between two human beings is quite alien to their nature. Okay, they meet, but they have associations, but a permanent union is not possible. Clear? देखो है ना हुन. We live like small islands, again from your book only. We live like small islands separated from each other by the indifferent ocean. So all the human beings are like islands, and we are separated from each other by the vast ocean. Yeah, the two islands, the possibility of the two islands becoming one is not there. It is something improbable. This separation is ordained by God. So why can't there be a perfect union between two human beings? Why? Because this has been ordained by God. Because God wants it to be like this only. ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ poem ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ. ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹਨੂੰ. Dover Beach, this poem is To Margaret. ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹਨੂੰ. Yes, in the sea of life, enisled with echoing straits between us thrown, Dotting the shoreless watery wild, we mortal millions live alone. ਇਸ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ in the sea of life we are like small islands. Every human being is like a small island. Okay? And all the islands are separated from one another with the flow of water between them. Yeah. देखो no, yes, in the sea of life, aniled is from the word islands only, aniled with echoing straits between us thrown. So straits की है क्या? Straits are water bodies, clear bays, straits, samundar. So with echoing straits between us thrown, dotting the shoreless watery wild, we mortal millions live alone. Clear? So we dot the ocean. Clear? So the life is compared to a vast ocean whose shores cannot be seen because it is so vast. So all the human beings are like dots on this ocean of life. Okay? Dotting the shoreless watery wild. Okay? So we are there crowding the sea of life. We are like dotting the vast sea of life, dotting the shoreless watery wild. So dots, chote chote spots. We mortal millions live alone. Okay, so we are mortals, we are human beings, and we are millions, but we essentially are alone. We live alone. So the critics consider this particular sentence to be one of the most powerful lines ever written in poetry. केड़ी line है? We mortal millions live alone. Clear? We are millions, we are so big in number, yet we live alone. ਅਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹਾਂ. Clear? So again, the islands feel the enclasping flow, and then their endless bounds they know. Clear? So the islands feel the flow of water that seems to clasp them. Clear? ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਕੜਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ. And then their endless bounds they know. And then they know that they cannot merge with each other because their boundaries are endless. Clear? कि they cannot be one. So the union between them is impossible. So next देखो. But when the moon their hollows lights, and they are swept by balms of spring, and in their glens on starry nights the nightingales divinely sing, and lovely notes from shore to shore across the sounds and channels pour. Oh, then a longing like despair is to their farthest caverns sent, for surely once they feel we were parts of a single continent. Now round us spreads the watery plain. Oh, might our marges meet again. So फिर next की है, but when the moon their hollows lights, and they are swept by balms of spring, and in their glens on starry nights the nightingales divinely sing. Okay? But when the moonlight falls on these islands and lights up all their caves. Okay? So ਜਦੋਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ moonlight ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, when it even fills the hollow spaces of these islands with light, when the wind blows and carries the fragrance of flowers from one island to another. Clear? देखो ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ. But when the moon their hollows lights. Clear? So hollow simply means the hollow spaces. So ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਰ island ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, and they are swept by balms of spring. Clear? And when the fragrance of flowers is carried from one island to another, and in their glens on starry nights the nightingales divinely sing. And when in their when in their narrow valleys. So glens ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ valleys ਘਾਟੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤੀਆਂ ਖੁੱਲੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, and in their glens on starry nights the nightingales divinely sing. And when the nightingales sing very beautifully, and the song of the nightingale, when it echoes in all the valleys, and when the night is starry, and lovely notes from shore to shore. So when the music that the nightingale creates, when it is again carried from one island to another, across the sounds and channels pour. Clear? So when the voice of the nightingale is carried from one island to another, clear? Then what happens? Oh, then a longing like despair is to their farthest caverns sent. Yes, then all the islands feel a very strong longing, a very strong desire, which that longing is as strong as despair. It is now despair is a feeling of hopelessness. It is a very strong feeling. Or when the nightingale is singing, and when the moonlight is falling on these islands, then these islands feel a very strong emotion. This emotion is as strong as the feeling of despair. Clear? And they want to be united with one another. Clear? Because naturally when they see that the same moonlight is falling on all of them, and when they feel that they are moved by the same music, okay, that the music of the nightingale affects them equally, then what happens? Then they feel their basic sameness, their basic unity. Clear? कि उन्होंने फिर फील होता है कि basically we are all one. Fundamentally we are all one, because the same music moves them and the same moonlight falls on them. Clear? फिर की होता है देखो, oh then a longing like despair is to their farthest caverns sent. Clear? Then this feeling is sent to their remotest caves. Clear? कि फिर हर आइलैंड ਦੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਧੁਰ ਤੱਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਇਰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲੌਂਗਿੰਗ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਔਰ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ? ਫॉर श्योरली वंस दे फील वी वर पार्ट्स ऑफ अ सिंगल कॉन्टीनेंट. क्लीयर? फिर हर आइलैंड की फील करता है कि पहला असी वी ऑल वर पार्ट ऑफ अ सिंगल कॉन्टीनेंट. क्लीयर? इट वॉज ओनली आफ्टरवर्ड्स दैट वी बिकेम सेपरेटेड into small islands. They become conscious of their essential unity. Clear? कि साडे basically असी इक्को ही हैगे हैं, but we have become separated. Clear? So ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਦ ਸੇਮ, ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਦ ਸੇਮ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ moves us, because the same moonlight falls on us. Now round us spreads the watery plain, oh might our marges meet again. Clear? So ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨ 'ਚ ਕੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, that now they feel that this vast ocean separates us. Clear? And they want that the boundaries should be broken now, and they should all become one. Okay? Who ordered that their longings fire should be as soon as kindled cooled. फिर वो की कहता है कि किने इस तरह किया कि why could not the two islands be united? Clear? Who ordained? किने इस तरह ही बनाई गल, किने इदा हुक्म दिता कि इन्हां दी जिहड़ी डिज़ायर हैगी है to become one, it should be cooled after some time. Clear? It should be in reality it should be cooled as soon as it is kindled. कि जिद्दां ही ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਛਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਹ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਗਦੀ ਹੈ, ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ. Clear? just as a fire is kindled. Clear? ਅੱਗ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਬੁੱਝ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਇਰ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਪਰ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ. Clear? but who has ordained this? कि ਇਹ ਕਿਹਦੇ ਹੁਕਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ why can't the islands become one? Who renders vain their deep desire? Clear कि who has ordered this, that their deep desire should not reach fruition? Clear, it should not become a reality. Clear कि किने इदां कीता हैगा कि इन्हां दी जिहड़ी deep desire है to become one? Clear, why does it not get fulfilled? Clear, ਕਿਹੜੀ ਪਾਵਰ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਨੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਹੁਕਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ? A god their severance ruled. ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਖੁਦ ਹੀ ਕੀ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਕਿਨੇ ordain ਕੀਤਾ ਗੋਡ ਨੇ? A god their severance ruled. So God has ruled this separation. Clear ਕਿ ਰੱਬ ਦੀ ਹੀ ਹੁਕਮ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਹੈਗਾ. ਸੋ ਅੱਗੇ 2 ਲਾਈਨਸ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੁੱਕ 'ਚੋਂ ਦੇਖੋ and bade betwixt their shores to be the unplumbed salt estranging sea, and it was only he who ordered. So bade ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੀ ਕੀ ਹੁਕਮ ਦੇਣਾ? who ordered that between the shores of, between the boundaries of all the islands should there be a very deep sea. Unplumbed ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੀ ਕੀ ਹੈ? that has never been measured, that is unmeasured, and that is salty, and that is estranging. Estranging means that is separating. Clear कि ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ separate ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਸਮੁੰਦਰ. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਕਿਨੇ ਹੁਕਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ? God ਨੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ islands ਹੈ they will never become one. Clear, though there is an essential unity, though essentially we all are one, but no two human beings can be one. Yet there always remains the essential difference. Clear? So it's a very beautiful poem. देखो इन्हों हुन. Clear कि connection, all the human beings want connection, yeah, but that is, the union is simply impossible. Yeah, because it is it is as God ordained it to be. Okay, so now I make an end here, and I hope you have understood the poem.